everybody, it's time for my favorite video of the whole year. It is American Ninja Warrior season, and yes, I am enthralled by every episode. This is season 15 of American Ninja Warrior. I'm a giant fan. I see so much gaming and strategy and teamwork at play in this show, which reminds me so much of why I love board games and tabletop games. So I always pick a game of the year for my American Ninja Warrior that is inspired by the show and has some connection to it, mechanically, thematically, whatever, you name it. Go back and watch my previous seasons, my previous games of the year for American Ninja Warrior on my channel. This year for 2023, I have selected challengers. And the reason I've picked this game is because there is a player versus player or a head versus head challenge in American Ninja Warrior this season that is brand new, and that's exactly the kind of gameplay that Challengers offers players. This kind of change in American Ninja Warrior is huge. This is a new addition that kind of is reminiscent of all their off-season, like non-main Mount Midoriyama stage 1, 2, 3, 4 finals that happens at the beginning of every summer. So off-season, ninjas are always racing, and they do this head-to-head, side-by-side on the same course challenge, where they are essentially racing each other to hit the buzzer. And in Challengers, players are going to team up against other players at the game, at the table, and they're going to challenge each other, capture the flag style. If they can outlast and knock out the other opponent first, they're going to win a trophy for that particular round. And the really cool thing about this game is play is simultaneous. So no matter how many players you have, all the way from 2 up to 8, which is a really huge range, the game plays the same because everything is simultaneous. One player will team up against another player, and they will have a deck of cards. Everyone starts with an identical deck, and they will shuffle up their deck and then play their cards one by one into a play area. And if their number matches, which is equals or exceeds the number of the opponent's top card that has been played from the previous round, they take the flag, and then the opponent will come back at them. And it's this back and forth. And the thing that makes this really interesting as a head-to-head challenge is that players will, yes, make their own deck. They will get to invest in cool, unique cards round to round in a total of 7 rounds. The thing that's really fun about that is you pick. That's where your decisions are made, essentially, because once you start the round, your deck is shuffled, and you don't get to pick your cards. You don't get to select what order you want to play them in. You will simply turn over the top cards. So the choice has already been made, and now you are going to execute and see if your plan of attack was successful against your opponent's plan. And the other thing too is you will keep playing cards into your side until your total number matches or exceeds your opponent's top card, because once you do, you will unsplay your cards, only leaving the top card, the last card played, into your display on the top. So that means that your opponent only has to beat that number, not the entire number of collected cards you played. That is just so smart and easy. So when your opponent beats you and takes the flag, you will then have to take your card or cards, if you played multiple cards, and put them into the side area of this display. This is your fan base, where your fans go sit in the stands. And that means that you can only have one unique name type in each of the slots available. And the way that you lose, I said if you can outlast your opponent, or you could beat them by having cards to play and they don't have any more cards left. That's one way, is if they go to try to beat you and they can't outbeat your number. The other way is if your fans don't fit into your fan stand, meaning you have played too many unique kinds of cards. It's just great. So whenever you're building your deck, whenever you're adding cards, You're allowed to get rid of some cards from your hand, but that means they're gone for the entire game, not just for the round. So that means you really have to be careful about how you are curating your deck, how you are adding and how you are culling. This is really fun. And you're not only playing one opponent, you are playing multiple opponents. And there are really easy cards that tell you exactly who you're playing and at what particular match. Because there are these roll-out neoprene mats that are super pretty, super easy to use, just wonderful for the central feature of the game. And there are 4 of those. So you will play at, let's say, the red flag field one time, then you'll move over to the green flag field, then you'll move over to the purple one, and you'll be fighting all the people at the table head to head in one challenge at a time. So this game is all about the cards and the way that you craft your deck. It's fantastic. So that ninja feature of head-to-head challenges running side by side on the same course with different skill sets and different experience is exactly what this Challengers game is. The second I played this in preparation for Game of the Year nominees, which this is one of the 3 Game of the Year nominees, so if you want to see that video, go check that out and see how Challengers stacks up against the other nominees for that Spiel des Jahres 2023. But I played it and I went, this is it. This is my American Ninja Warrior Game of the Year, because that is a brand new feature for this season with that head-to-head challenge. And again, that is exactly what you're doing here. So it has such a lovely feel. It scales incredibly well between 2 and 8 players. Even if you have an odd number of players, there is an AI deck that you can play against. And so it essentially fills that gap for you if you have an odd number. So don't be afraid if you have an odd number of players to play this. And all the way up to 8, the game takes the exact same amount of time because you are all playing your matches. So if you have 8 players, you're playing 4 matches at the same time, and all you care about is the person that's across the table from you. They're the ones that you're playing a direct head-to-head match with. And then later you're going to move chairs and go somewhere else and fight somebody else. And you really get a good feel for the different decks and what players are playing with. And they all are so different. When you come at them, you're like, oh boy, I really just crushed, so-and-so last round. But then you find yourself absolutely in a pickle with this other player and the way that they've crafted their deck. Lovely deck building, really, really fast rounds, and a super exciting culmination in a finale run between the top 2 trophy earners or victory point earners at the very end of this entire game. Loads of fun, even if you're on the sidelines cheering for somebody else at the table to win. It is just a riot. And when I've played this with people, they say they want to get it and they want to take it and play it with all of their other friends. So it is just a real table pleaser, fast game to play, quick game to pick up, and I think it's kind of endlessly replayable with all the decks of super, super cool cards that you build your skill set with. So Challengers is my American Ninja Warrior game of 2023 Season 15, and of course, you better believe it, go Joe. I am all in on the Weatherman. He is my guy. I think he's got it this year. I'm so excited for the runs. I can't say enough great things about Flexa Breck. I love that. I love Jesse Graff. I love everybody. It's amazing. There have been some inspiring runs so far that I have seen, and I look forward to the semifinals and the finals at Mount Midoriyama. So thank you so much for checking in with my American Ninja Warrior game of the year. I love that show. And I really like Challengers and how it pairs up perfectly with one of my favorite sports. All right, everybody, I'll see you next time.